Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at some basic tips for Squad, specifically tailored to new players. If you're just jumping into Squad for your first games and have no clue what you're doing or are struggling with some of the features of the game, this video is going to be for you. I'll cover some of the more popular game modes and how they work, different roles in a squad and which are easiest for new players, and lastly, some core mechanics and tips that are going to help you in every single match that you play. Before we jump in, I do quickly want to mention that I stream Squad regularly at the moment over on my Twitch channel, which you can see on your screen now. Feel free to swing by if you have any unanswered questions or just want to talk shop about Squad. So, first and foremost, let's look at how the game modes work and how they differ from each other. In Squad, the start of the match is arguably the most important part of the entire game. In AAS, the capture points will be shown on your map with white flags. These points are neutral and need to be capped by one of the two teams. Every point is visible at the start of the match, and you'll be able to choose where to place some forward operating bases, or Fobs, to work as spawn points that you will attack or defend capture points from. We'll cover Fobs in a bit more detail later, being one of the key features you'll need to understand about Squad. The only difference between AAS and RAAS is the point on RAAS are hidden by the fog of war until you capture the previous point, creating a bit of a guessing game when it comes to fob placement. A good team will use their helicopters to get to and from points quickly as they come up on your map. In both AAS and RAAS, the team which reaches 0 tickets first will lose the game. Killing an enemy will remove a single ticket, destroying enemy vehicles will remove a larger amount of tickets, but the real key to winning this mode is holding the most control points. This can progressively drain points from either team depending on who holds more control points at the time. Last of the three most popular game modes is Invasion, in which one team holds all capture points and the attacking team needs to take these points before their tickets run out. During the setup phase for any of the three modes that we just covered, squads will be created and you'll have the chance to join one for yourself and select a role. I would not recommend leading a squad until you are more comfortable with the game, as this has a few advanced mechanics to it that we might not be ready for just yet. Some roles will have a max capacity per squad, and others will only be able to be taken by a certain number of people across your entire team. For new players, I'd recommend starting with a rifleman or medic. Both of these roles are fairly straightforward, but leave you with something to do within your squad, as well as giving you an optic. Iron sights are a little harder to master and definitely not new player friendly on most maps. Once you've gotten a bit more practice, you can try Grenadier, Marksman, or Auto Rifleman. None of these are too complicated, so make for a great choice once you've got the hang of the basics. I'd leave the other roles until you're a bit more familiar with the game, as they can take a bit more practice to get right. The Rifleman is pretty straightforward. The only thing you'll really want to remember about this class is that you have an ammo bag, which you can access by pressing the number 6 key. You can then interact with this ammo bag by holding F to resupply your ammo, grenades, or bandages. Be aware that your squad leader or anti-tank are likely to ask you to drop this ammo bag for them from time to time, so make sure you pick it back up if you're using it and it's not empty by the time you're done using it. The medic class is usually required in squad with a minimum of 1 in each squad, sometimes 2. Be aware that the second person to choose medic in your squad may not come equipped with an optic, so make sure you check this when you're selecting the class on the loadout screen. As a medic, you'll be responsible for using bandages to pick up down teammates or stop bleeding, and your med pack for healing them once they're suitably bandaged up. You'll notice that you'll see a blood drop over a teammate that is bleeding and a medic symbol over teammates that require healing. Generally, if you're playing a medic, you want to realize that you are the lifeline for your team. You are often going to be the one picking people up, healing them, and getting them back in the fight. So it's advised that you take a bit of a back seat and maybe don't push forward as the front man. So, you know what role you're going to pick in your squad and how to use them. The next thing is getting to grips with your weapon, and maybe trying out a few more from the other roles too. For this, we've got Jensen's Range. You can find this via the main menu, and you'll be able to try weapons and roles from multiple factions, as well as use emplacements or vehicles if you fancy giving them a try too. Targets are put up at several ranges for you to take shots at. I can't recommend a range enough. It seems like a simple thing, but judging distance and getting used to how the weapons feel, the different scopes, and some of the emplacements will genuinely help you when you get out there in a match. Anyway, that's all for the range, just a quick one really, but just remember that it's there if ever you want to try a weapon that you haven't used before. One of the most difficult things in squad for new players is picking out enemies. It seems like a simple thing in practice, but often new players find that they're getting shot frequently without seeing who fired the bullet. There's a few things that can help with this in squad, but one of the most important is communicating and processing information given to you by your squad. You can press M to open your map, and quite often you'll notice that there are red helmet markers placed on the map during the match. These are placed by squad leaders or fire team leaders, marking enemy locations for your team. Use these to your advantage to help you prepare for contact. Next to this, your squad mates will often call out enemy targets, usually accompanied by a bearing if you're stood nearby to them, or at the very least a cardinal direction if you're a bit of a distance away from them. On the flip side of this, calling out the general direction of enemies using either bearings or your compass is going to be much more effective in practice than simply saying left or right. One of the biggest things you'll bump into when playing is one of your teammates seeing enemy contacts only to yell over there and you having no idea where over there actually is. Be quick and concise, and this will help your team greatly. One last quick tip for you here: don't increase your FOV too much. Increasing your field of view may sound like a good idea, but it reduces the size of your reticle in squad when aiming and makes distant targets seem even further away than they actually are. Next up, let's go back to those fobs that we talked about earlier. Understanding how these work and what to do when your squad leader first pulls up the logistics truck is going to make your first game a lot easier. There's a lot of terminology here that you naturally might not understand, so we'll touch on that right now. Fob refers to forward operating base. The heart of a fob is the radio. The first thing your squad leader will place when they've pulled up in the logistics truck is going to be that radio. Once this is placed, the next port of call will be the hab. This is the spawn location for troops using the fob. Your squad leader is going to expect you to construct this once it's placed. So follow your squad leader, and once he places the hab, you can equip your shovel and hold left click to build up that hab. Make sure you don't get caught in the walls when it's constructing, or the squad will need to dig the hab back down to get you out, and obviously this just wastes a little bit of time. Next, the squad leader is likely to put down an ammo box after the hab. You can resupply from this by holding F, just like the ammo bags that we covered earlier, and hovering over the rearm option, then left clicking. One final note for putting up fobs: one person will need to unload the logistics truck when the radio is first placed. This will allow you to build things like the ammo box and the hab. If you do get asked to do this, all you need to do is hold F on the logistics truck and hold left click to unload both the construction supplies and ammo until it's empty, unless your squad leader specifies they only want you to unload a certain amount. The last thing we're going to talk about when it comes to fobs is attacking an enemy fob and how to do it effectively. Much of this is down to your squad leader to ensure that the process goes smoothly, but the basics you'll need to know is that your enemy cannot spawn on their hab if you and another teammate are in very close proximity. You'll hear this referred to as proxying the enemy hab. You want to try and do this as quickly as you can, because if you don't, the enemy can keep spawning in, and eventually they will push you back. Attacking quickly and with the element of surprise is key here. Once you reach the enemy fob and the hab is proxied, you can use right click with your shovel to disable it. Once the roof is removed from the hab, it can no longer be chosen as a spawn point. Alternatively, you can dig down the radio instead. Once it reaches its lowest state, shown in the video now, the fob will enter a bleed out phase. After 60 seconds, if not repaired by the enemy team, the entire fob will be destroyed, leaving only sandbags or barbed wire behind. Every other structure will be taken with the radio. So, that just about covers us for the different game modes, squad roles that I'd recommend to start your squad experience, and how FOBs work. To round this video off, I'm going to go over a few basic tips that will make your experience smoother, along with everyone else in your squad. Let's start with something simple. Like many FPS games, switching to your sidearm is always going to be quicker than reloading. In a pinch, using your pistol could mean the difference between life and death, but it's important to remember that not every class or faction will come equipped with one. With multiple weapons you'll use in squad, it's possible to increase or decrease the ranging for different engagements. All you need to do is hold X and scroll wheel up or down. Outside of that, many optics you'll use will have markers to help with ranging, so remember that. It's up to you which you prefer, but knowing both options are there will help with those long-range battles. If you have particular difficulty spotting targets, it's also worth remembering that many classes in squad come equipped with binoculars. You can usually find these assigned to the number 6 key, along with your shovel, and are an often underrated tool for actually spotting infantry and communicating with your team. Just one more general tip for using your weapon in the most effective way. Single fire is almost always going to be preferable to using automatic. You can change this by pressing your scroll wheel in, but generally you'll want to be using full auto in very close range engagements only. Recoil can be very hard to handle, so doing so at long range is just not profitable for you in any way. You may notice that your squad leader will assign fire teams within your squad and will sometimes ask if anyone wants this responsibility. Might seem a bit daunting, but don't worry, you won't usually have to do any sort of leading. However, if you do become a fire team lead, you can hold T to apply markers to things that you're looking at in real time. For example, holding T on an enemy vehicle and applying the observe marker will help you communicate where an enemy vehicle is to your squad leader, along with the ability to mark points of interest that you see. As a fire team lead, you can open an interactive map using the Enter key and right-click to apply several types of markers. You might want to leave marking vehicles to your squad leader for the time being, as it's quite easy to get these types of vehicles confused, and this can be key information for your armor that, when confused or incorrect, can get your armor killed. For now, just try to throw up an observe marker and tell your squad leader what you see. They'll handle the rest. Everything else that you might need to know, you can pick up from playing regularly, but if you do think there's something that I've missed, please feel free to post in the comments, and I'll do my very best to answer any questions I can. If enough people find this video of value, there's definitely a good chance that I'll do some squad guides in the future again, so drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you think that might be helpful for you, and I will see you in the next one.